Good evening and welcome. It's great to see you all again to the third in our series of the Vegetarian Way for this half of the year. And you've enjoyed the first two? Yep. Great. And now guess what? This, we hope, is going to be the best. All right, this will be the best. Why? Well, one of my favourite themes tonight for the vegetarian cooking demonstrations will be party foods. Who likes parties, yeah? All right, so this is going to be vegetarian party foods tonight. Before we do, I've been told to limit my talk tonight because they've got a lot to demonstrate, all right? That's exciting. So I'm going to limit my talk tonight. But just to give you a little bit of information to take home with you, just on our general health, I want to share with you one of the 8 principles of health, just a little bit about it. Now, for those you may be familiar with, New Start. New Start is an acronym. Nutrition, exercise, fresh water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust in divine power. This is an acronym for the 8 principles or 8 laws of what I would like to call health or hygiene. These principles are readily accessible to all of us at very minimal cost, both to maintain our health and to cure ourselves when we happen to be sick. So we can use these principles to maintain health and cure ourselves, and these are freely available to everybody. Okay, those 8 principles: nutrition, adequate, proper nutrition, exercise, fresh, pure water, sunshine, temperance, which is moderation, fresh air, rest, adequate rest, and trust in divine power. Tonight I'd like to just share a little bit on S, which is sunshine, and what we can learn from that for us tonight. Now, firstly, sunlight. Sunlight comes from the sun, and the sun is a great ball of fire there in the sky, right? Some millions and millions of miles away. Its surface temperature is 6,000 degrees Celsius. Or I'm sure if you put anything in the oven tonight at that temperature, it wouldn't last very long, all right? So just keep this in mind. It's 157 million kilometres away, and so that's how far away it is, and yet so far away our body receives the light from it for its needs. We need sunlight. Our body converts sunlight into what? Vitamin D. How important is vitamin D? Yeah. Essential, isn't it? Let's have a look at some benefits of vitamin D. Firstly, vitamin D helps maintain strong bones. It strengthens your immune system. It helps with blood pressure regulation. The bright light in the morning facilitates awakening and protects against depression. Yeah? So this is some of the benefits of the sunlight, in particular with vitamin D. Now, did you know, I don't know if anyone has read any of the research on this in recent times, but at the outbreak of COVID-19, did you hear anything about vitamin D from the health department? From the Minister of Health? Here? Yes? You did? Good. And what is it that you heard? Some of you are nodding you did. What did you hear? I didn't hear anything, to tell you the truth. Huh? Get out of the sun, stay inside, right? But you know what? Vitamin D studies have been done for the past, over the past 17 years now. Up until the COVID outbreak, about 15 years of research had been done on vitamin D deficiency and its relation to respiratory illness. And what they found there was that higher levels of vitamin D correlate with decreased risk of respiratory illness. Now, this was prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. They already knew. Multiple studies over 15 years have verified that vitamin D, there's a correlation, not a causation, but more a correlation between vitamin D deficiency and respiratory illness, suggesting that the higher the vitamin D is in the system, the lower is the incidence of respiratory illness. Or people with respiratory illness, probably more likely, had lower levels of vitamin D in the system. Now, what did that lead to? Well, scientists, particularly in those places that didn't have the vaccination ready in that first probably 12 months, they were trying everything, including vitamin D boosting. And some studies were done in those early period of the COVID outbreak over the 12 months. And do you know what they found? I'm talking in Asia, like in India, thereabout, other places similar to there. They found this: there was a lower severity of symptoms in people who had high levels of vitamin D. And there was a lower risk of hospitalization in people who had high levels of vitamin D. And if they happened to get COVID and were hospitalized, they recovered sooner than those with low levels of vitamin D. And they found this correlation matching the data of the previous 15 years. And so they were promoting vitamin D. Now, you don't hear much about that, but this is really what, and I know what I was doing. Before the vaccines were released, I know with Fauci, Dr. Fauci in America, the head of the health there in America, you know what he was taking every day? 4,000 IUs of vitamin D every day, because that's what you needed to boost the immune system. All right, a lot of people may not have heard about that, but that's what they were doing because of the knowledge of this correlation between the two. Now, in regard to vitamin D deficiency, what are the risks of it? Well, firstly, naturally dark-skinned people are at high risk of low vitamin D in their systems. Why is that? What do you think that would be? How is vitamin D formed? Do you know? Direct exposure of the skin to the sun. Yeah? And the darker the pigment, the more exposure you need to produce vitamin D. Me, I need about 5 minutes, that's it, bang, right? Because I turn red. Go out in the sun and I'm gone, all right? But people with a darker complexion, they need more exposure to get the same benefits from the sunlight in producing vitamin D, I should say. Also, people who cover their skin for religious or cultural reasons, okay, they're also at risk of vitamin D deficiency, obviously. The elderly and housebound or institutional care, why? Because they're indoors for almost 100% of the time, right? So they are also at risk. Babies and infants are at risk of vitamin D deficient, and vitamin D deficient mothers, especially babies who are exclusively or partially breastfed, patients with osteoporosis, people with impaired liver or kidney function. Okay, these are all people who are at risk of vitamin D deficiency. What I found interesting, again, studies done during the COVID period, or perhaps towards the end of it, do you know, when it comes to vitamin D deficiencies in the population based on race in North America, this is what the studies have found. From a couple of studies done here, the dark lines are a study done in 1994, it ended 88 to 94, and then the grey areas are 2001 to 2004. But what they're finding is both studies were showing the same thing. I want you to look at the the group of bars in this area here. So this group of bars here, these ones here, okay, that group there. From the my left there, you have other, and then you have Mexican Americans, you have non-Hispanic blacks, and then you have non-Hispanic whites from left coming in, okay? So the three, so you got just leave away the first one for a minute, take the second one from the left, Hispanic Americans, which are Mexican Americans. you have the next one along is black Americans, and then you have white Americans. Who is the lowest on that bar graph? Who's the lowest? The black Americans, right? In both studies. The next highest is Mexicans, and the highest is white Americans. Now, this is the levels of what would be considered the ideal level of vitamin D or greater in the system. White Americans, the vast majority, have sufficient levels or better of vitamin D in the system. Whereas the most deficient are the black Americans. And this study was correlated 20 years between the studies. Okay, so it's a phenomenon, particularly if you're in the northern hemisphere. The further you are from the equator, the more predominant this comes out. And this next chart shows people who have less than what we would call 10 nanograms per milliliter of vitamin D in the system. And you can see there that who's the lowest? Again, it goes, I'm looking at these ones on the left here. Okay, these ones on the left. You've got from the four on the left, whites, blacks, Mexicans and other. Whites is the lowest. Who's the highest? The next one along is black Americans. And the next one along is Mexicans and then other. So you've got here whites again being the lowest, and this is extreme deficiency in vitamin C. Okay, very low deficiencies in vitamin C. So, vitamin D, I should say, vitamin D. So we're looking at whites are very low, but blacks are very, very high. Okay, again, it's a correlation between, I would put it to you, the pigmentation of the skin and vitamin D, okay? Because why? The sunlight is needed for that. And what was very interesting, do you know who had the greatest rates of death in North America? Guess who you think had greatest rates of death from COVID-19? Black Americans, then Mexicans, and then white Americans. And when you look at the data, it's amazing. So vitamin D, there is a correlation between both the incidence of COVID-19 and respiratory illness and the severity of it, to the point that leads even to death. Okay? So this is why it's important, very important, that we take in enough vitamin D. Now, vitamin D deficiency can only be discovered through blood tests that measure levels of storage of vitamin D, known as 25-OHD. All right, that's the blood test. So that's the only way you can really get to know what your level is. So according to the Institute of Medicine in America, the following values determine your vitamin D status. A deficient level is someone with less than 12 nanograms per mil of vitamin D in the system. An insufficient level would be between 12 to 20 nanograms per mil of vitamin D in the system. A sufficient level would be between 20 to 50. That was the first graph I showed you. And high levels are greater than 50 nanograms per mil. So those high levels, the correlation between vitamin D in a high level and incidence of COVID is far lower. I mean, it's a low incidence of COVID in the highest levels of vitamin D. That correlation is very strong. Now, the IOM also states that a blood value of over 20 nanograms per mil should meet the vitamin D needs of 97 to 98% of healthy people. Okay. However, several studies have found that a blood level of 30 nanograms per mil could be even better for preventing fractures, falls, and certain cancers. Now, so if you find that you're deficient in vitamin D, well, there's a few things you can do about it. What can you do about it? What do you think if you're deficient in vitamin D, what can you do about it? Sunlight? And pills. It's the only two things you can really do. Sunlight and supplements, okay? But sunlight, for someone like me, I'm not going to get much assistance, or it'll be over a long period of time, right, for me, because I'm very fair and I burn easy, all right? So I probably need both sunlight and maybe if I am very low, I'll need supplements. Now, the recommended supplementation is 1,000 to 4,000 international units per day, okay? And you can see on the bottom, you can buy these in pills or you can buy them in drops. But particularly the form you want is D3. vitamin D3, because that's very easily assimilated by the body once it's ingested. You can even buy them as spray. You can spray it onto your mouth and tongue, or put in your drink, or the tablets, okay? But that's cholecalciferol is what it's called, vitamin D3. So that's a few thoughts there on sunlight and the benefits of sunlight and why we need it in order to maintain our healthy bones, a healthy immune system, a healthy respiratory system, and hopefully avoid or lower that risk of getting sick, particularly during winter. Yep. So thank you very much, and we'll go on now to our demonstrations. So, thank you. Yes?
I just wondered in terms of the supplements, like for a white person as myself as good.
Yes.
So is it recommended that I sort of be taking it, say, like in the summertime when it's hot and cold, or sort of only during winter?
It's a good question. I'm not a doctor or medical professional, so you need to sort of take that on board there, and maybe. But what I am aware of from my own perspective is that the recommended daily intake is about 400 to 600 IUs. Okay, but for someone who's wanting to boost the immune system, bring it up to. Now, I could show you. There's a whole hour-long lecture on this by two Adventist doctors on YouTube. They did it a couple of years back. I'll have to find the reference for you, but they were showing you all the studies and what the ideal intake would be. You can't, put it this way, you can't overdose on vitamin D, all right? Okay, you won't overdose on it. So I personally, when I was taking it, was doing 4,000 IUs per day, right? So that's not a problem. Even though 600 is the recommended adult intake, I was doing 4,000. No, I don't know whole year round, but particularly during that COVID season when there was a high risk of COVID, that's what we were doing, trying to make sure we're lowering that risk if we do happen to be exposed, But I haven't checked my vitamin D levels. Maybe if I do check them and they're at least, do you know what they were? I said before, 30 is above 30 nanograms per mil is like healthy. Even above 50, it's high. Okay, if I'm above 50, I'm okay, right? I'm going to be fine. But when you start getting 30, 20 and below, that's when you're leaving yourself, your immune system is open then. Put it that way, the correlation suggests that you're at risk. So if you're in that, say you're 30 and above, and even above 50 is great, fantastic. Okay, thank you everybody, and we're ready to go. Who's going? Joe? First, Joe tonight. We haven't heard from Joe, but please welcome Joe. He's going to do our first presentation this evening.
Thank you, Paul.
It's about time, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I've been conned? No, what's the word I can use here? Pressurized. We are in trouble, and can you please rescue us? So here I am.
That wasn't the case.
Not really. Not really. Do you have your recipes? First on our list.
No, the list is different.
List is different. Well, the first one to be demonstrated, being spring, being festive season, we called it a spring scroll. Okay, so find your spring scroll, and we are going to show you how to make a spring roll with a difference. And this is why we didn't use the name spring roll, we called it a spring scroll. Sounds good, yeah? Did anybody cook anything last week from last week's recipes? Yeah, you tried? It worked? Lovely, good. Don't forget to try, this is what it's all about. Okay, we have a look at your ingredients list first. I have an offsider here because we don't have much time and we need to kind of rush through, so Lydia's going to give me a hand here. Ingredients as far as veggie mix or the filling, okay, in other words, the filling is almond pieces, and not much, and they need to be roasted in the oven. So, yeah, the recipe that you have in there, that's plenty. 50 grams.
50 grams.
We are going to then do the cabbage now. Cabbage needs to be shredded. Now, how do you shred cabbage? How do you shred cabbage? There are a number of ways you can shred cabbage, okay? Mandolin slicer, for example. Does anybody use mandolin slicer? Watch your fingers. Watch your fingers. Okay, you can use old-fashioned knife if you are pretty good, you know, just you shred it, no problem. Or if you have a kitchen whiz of some sort, but you got to be careful, you might juice it instead of slices. So that's our cabbage. And to do the cabbage, and Lydia is going to start on this, you pour a little bit of oil in there. We are going to use olive oil for this. And it's ideal to use a wok because you want something that's very hot. Okay? And wok is ideal for that and gets done very quickly because you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to burn it. But you want a little bit of cabbage juice to come out. So when you see that brown stuff behind it, you know that it's good. Oh, sorry. Oh, look at the samples already here. And we didn't even start yet. And while we are doing the cabbage, we are going to saute some onions. And what we do is we put the onions in first because they need the longest. And then we'll add carrots inside. Oh, I have it already here because of the time saving, okay? You all know how to cut onions and carrots, so we don't have to show you that. So onions are going to go on. The cabbage is going to go in.
I'm just waiting for it to warm up.
Yes, it'll warm up pretty quick. Is it on?
Yes, it is.
Good. I like that. You have the amounts here on the list, ingredients list. It's not 100% necessary to be exact, okay? Now this will give you probably about the size, this is the one here, okay? Can you see this? So this is the thickness, and they are about this big. Actually, I'll need the pastry also, it's still in the fridge there. We are getting the samples that you're going to see 8 pieces out of 1, okay? And we are going to use filo pastry, which is Antonio's filo pastry. I wasn't tempted to do the pastry from the scratch, okay? I hope you don't mind. You'll forgive me for that. And I wouldn't know how to anyway, so this is a quick way of doing it. Buy a packet, and it's all good. A little bit of salt. You have your amount there.
Salt?
We use the herbal salt, but it's up to you what you want to use. So as this is going, you can start smelling the onions already. Lydia's going to get the pastry for me. And then we have what's called a crumb mix. I missed out the cayenne pepper. Okay, the cayenne pepper, it's up to you. I just found that just a little touch of cayenne pepper makes a difference. You don't really taste it. If you want to taste it, put more. But just a little pinch of cayenne pepper is just enough to give it a flavor and give you a little bit of aftertaste. And you can taste it after you eat it. And the last one on the ingredients for the filling is 15 grams of breadcrumbs. Now, get as fine breadcrumbs as possible. If you're a vegan, be careful what you buy because most of them have fish oil inside. Okay, so you have to look on the ingredients and have a look which ones are vegan. And the reason why we are putting this into the mix, once we start mixing it all, basically to take away some of the juice, to soak up the juice from the carrots and cabbage especially. It tends to get quite juicy. So a little bit of crumbs inside will fix all the problems. Now crumb mix, yes. I don't have my crumb mix here. I know it's here. Okay. Now I have lots of mix ready already, so I'm not going to show you because it's very easy to do. It is simply almond meal and breadcrumbs. That's all it is. a little bit of salt inside. And if it was me, I wouldn't even put the salt inside, but Lydia likes salt, so I got to put a little bit of salt inside. And this is really much. You have the amounts here, 350 breadcrumbs and 450 almond meal. Okay, so you can buy the almond meal in shops. We have it downstairs too. And this is the mix to go in between the sheets. Okay, and that's what makes a lot of difference than if you would just put 3 sheets and plaster them and then put the filling inside. It serves as a buffer. Hey Dale, that's a half. These two together is 1/2. And that's basically what it looks like. Okay, so once you have your mix, that's about it. As soon as Lydia is ready with all this, about 8 minutes total. So you do it for 4 minutes on reasonably high, and then you mix it, and then you leave it for another 4 minutes. And then you follow your guide, what to do with it, a method. I've done a lot of this. Look, I'm not going to. Many years ago in my other life, I kind of had a patisserie, okay? And our main thing was the sweet strudels. But after a while, I decided to stop kind of sending people to hospital with high cholesterol, and I decided it's time to stop. Thank you. Look, it looks very nice, and it's kind of brown. Almost ready. It is ready.
It is ready.
It is ready.
It's very fast.
And smells good. And how's your carrots and onion going?
They're ready too. So, that's what it looks like.
Okay, that's what it looks like. It disappears, yeah. Once you do the cabbage, it disappears.
And the carrots will go in it now.
So now basically we mix the whole thing, okay? That's the first part of your ingredients, which is veggie mix, or I would simply say the filling for the spring scroll. So you put your nuts inside, you put your breadcrumbs, and a little bit of pepper, cayenne pepper. You tell me when to stop. I better only put a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not, just right. It's like I weighed it. Now we have, that's for glazing, everything else is here. Okay.
He will do some work in a minute.
I will. Why do I have to work if she's here? Come on. I give her the inspiration, she does the work. Isn't that enough? I'm going to set up so we can... Okay, can you see what it looks like? This is what it looks like. And you can taste it, get a little fork and taste a little bit, and if you're happy with it, good. If you want to add something to it, do it. And there's no law against it, okay? Because everybody has a different taste, and I like something that you don't, perhaps. Antonio pastry. I had some pastry there, which, did you bring the other one? You didn't.
No, where is it?
Yeah, it's next to it. That was on top, and I used that for the samples today. There's enough there for tonight, for here. If you can get me that, that'll be lovely. Now, what you need.
Explain about the butter.
Okay, there's a couple of things that we need. One is a nice, clean tea towel, because we have to roll it. Okay, so make sure that. I think I'm running out of room here. That's the problem here. So I'll make some room. Now I've got some tissue paper because we need some. Originally, when I was doing it commercially, we were using 100% pure ghee. Okay, you know what ghee is? It's a pure butter fat with no moisture inside, because filo pastry does not like moisture. Okay, because the finish on it is not as durable and it will crack much easier. You can also get a vegan ghee, which is not too bad, but it doesn't taste the same. But for our exercise today, I simply got vegan margarine. That's all I got. Nutlex, okay? Nutlex, it's vegan. And we are going to use that. So you warm it, not too much. You're laughing at my brush, I could see that. Now this is a good quality paintbrush, which judging by its wear and tear, it's probably about 30 years old. I keep it in the fridge for emergency, okay? Because people still kind of have a habit of ringing me up and, oh, look, please, Joe, please. I said, no, no more. So I try to avoid it, but it does happen occasionally for our own use. Pastry. So I'm going to run out of room. Okay, what we do, we're going to do it the other way around. I'm going to put this one here because I need to get to it. And I hope I can fit the pastry on top. I said to Lydia, I'm not going to have enough room. I like my room when I'm doing these things. Now we'll only do as much as we have the filling here. Okay, so that could be about 4 maybe. We'll see how we go. So you put your pastry somewhere very handy, where you can reach it. Okay, and I had my...
Do you want your gear on here?
You see this? Very important tool in a bakery. You can't work without it. Now this is for scraping, for filling the piping bags, okay? If I was doing a lot of them, I would get a piping bag, fill it up, and just pour the filling across. But now we are only going to use this. Okay, I just want to cool down a little bit. And I think we are ready to go. Okay, so we take one sheet, and I'm going to use 3 sheets. And this is a miniature version of spring scroll. We used to do twice the size and length, and the pastry was different too. Mix, okay?
He works a very, very clean kitchen. Whenever he does anything, and sometimes I come around and I do something, no, clean this up.
Well, there is a reason for that, because rubbish gets in your way, especially if you are in a hurry and you had to do a couple of hundred of things. You want it clean. But after I finish, then the cleanup time is not all that great. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about yet is glazing. Now, for glazing, you can do lots of different things, okay? Originally, we were using eggs in those days, so that would be your glaze. And it makes it nice and brown looking, and it's really, really nice. But now we are going to do just the margarine on top and a little bit of sesame seeds, which I have in there. All right, so now we're going to put a filling inside. See, if I had a bag, that would be done already. So what you do is now you grab your tea towel and we roll it. Tuck the edges in and we'll put it on a tray. Oh, I did it too long. Okay, we'll go this way. This is a smaller tray. And then a little brush for the top. No, that's fine. We'll do 3. You don't have to do more.
Is this on, Joe?
Sorry?
It's not on?
You put it on and it'll be on.
We just thought since festive season's just around the corner, we would do a whole lot of little finger foods so that you can have a healthier festive season. So that's why we've got a few things for you today. So it's quite a big program. We'll try and cover it all.
So we're in a hurry. We're getting there. While I'm doing this, if you have any questions, just ask. Don't hesitate. Very easy, very quick, and I hope you like it. Another one which I like quite a bit that we used to do, it's called Hansa scroll, which is with potato and spinach and a few other things. But most of all, The favorites are always apple strudel, cherry and custard and apricot and you name it.
Cheese and custard.
All right, another one.
My favourite was cherry and cheese, or cheese and apricot. That's really nice, a nice lot.
And occasionally we used to do banana for our own use.
But we've gone slightly healthier these days.
A lot healthier. That was how many years ago?
A long time
A
ago.
long time ago.
So we kind of stick away from the dairy.
Tuck it in a little bit here with the tea towel so it doesn't get undone. So when you have a look at it, it's already formed as a little sausage roll. Roll it, tuck the ends in, put it on the tray.
When Joe makes, when he used to do the strudels, there's something about the way he rolls it because no one else can do it the same. Nobody else. We all tried, do a pretty good job, but no one's like
They all
him.
decided that I should do all the work, so let me do it. That's all it is. Not that I can't do it. One more. That's all we have the filling for. So that amount of ingredients that you have on your list, it'll be, oh no, actually we had, it'll be more than this because I didn't have enough cabbage. So we decided, 3 is enough. You
You
can
should be
see.
able to do four of them.
4 or 5.
Depends how thick and how fat you want it.
One more sheet.
Joe always says that he can't paint. Whenever we've got to do our house, I've got to do the painting because he can't paint. But look at him holding that brush. It's pretty good, isn't he?
After painting so much pastry in my life, last thing I want to do is paint a house. Okay? And I hope you sympathize with me. Look how heavy this is, you get...
And don't you feel sorry for your wife having to hold that heavy brush and
Yeah, but
paint
you
the
love
walls
painting,
and
I
the
don't.
doors?
There's a difference. Plus I wear glasses and I hate getting my glasses painted. All right, now let's divide this, whatever is left. So all the strudels that you see with filo pastry, basically it's the same method, okay? Except they are much bigger. I mean, they were about this big and 5 sheets. And the sheets was almost like a tea towel. Okay, that's all we have enough for. In the oven, roughly, every oven is different. And most of the ovens are not even. Does anybody have an even oven that you don't have to, that one side is not darker than the other? It's very rare, okay? Marianne, good. You have to tell us brand. It's very rare that you have. So what we do is 9 minutes on about 180, 190, depending on what oven you have, and then change it. Swap it around, turn it around, the tray, and put it back in for another 8 or 9 minutes. And that's the spring scroll, okay? In the oven, cut it. Once you try it, tell me what you think. Any questions? How do you eat it? Easy. You cut it and... Oh, sorry. That's not a question. Yes? 180 degrees on a method. Have a look on the next page. It's there. But like I said, it's different everywhere. About 180 for about 18 to 20 minutes, no more. They need a quick bake, okay, but nice, not burnt. So it's nice and brown and looks golden on top, you know it's ready. So make sure you, after halfway, 9 minutes, 8 minutes, turn it around. Keep your eye on it for the first time to see how your oven works. It's basically, that's what it is. Any other questions? Sorry, Keith, you can't have any sweet ones, okay? He asked me, when are you going to make strudels? When are you going to make strudels? So thank you, Lydia, for helping.
Okay. Joe and I are going to retire in December. So I thought, I can't leave you all without putting him in the hot seat. So that's why I said to him, I said, no, you've got to do it. You've got to do something. So it's really lovely. He's always been over there and wherever, but this time I said, no, he's got to do something over here so he knows what we feel like. So thank you, Joe. That was really, really good.
You're very welcome, and I hope you enjoy it. That's all I can say. Any questions? Just because we are retiring doesn't mean we're not going to be here next time, all right? We are still going to... We might travel a little bit more, and we might be away, but if we are in Sydney, we will be here helping. And it was lovely to meet all of you. You know, some of you I know for many, many years already. So it was lovely to have friendship with you. And I hope that you learn something and, you know, that your health improves. I think that's the most important. So, you know, what more do you want? Healthy and happy and enjoy good food. I think Rosetta is next. I'll hook her up to the microphone, Rosetta. There you go. Where would you like it? That's a new one.
Do you got samples?
Yeah, yes. Samples are coming.
Samples? I was just wondering.
Hold your horses, hold your horses.
You've got to just wait a little bit. Be patient.
Usually the samples are coming out while he's demonstrating, so... Anyway, I'm looking forward to...
We've got a party on tonight.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Who enjoyed that presentation, yeah? Great. Thanks. Okay. And now, Rosetta, you've got... What have you got now? Potato cheese.
Yeah.
Yum. Thanks, Rosetta.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back again. Tonight we've got something a little bit different, potato cheese, which is a little bit weird, but it tastes good. It's really good. So what we need for this is we've got to cook up some potatoes. You just get a couple of potatoes, 2 cups full, which is about 2 potatoes. Chop them up, put them in a pan, bit of water, and boil them up. You get about 1.5 carrots, same thing, chop it up, put it in the same water as the potatoes, and cook it up till it's tender, nice and soft. And that's what we've already done. You don't have to see that process. You know how easy it is to cook potatoes. So we've got sliced potatoes just been cooked up. So what we're going to do is put that into our blender. When you cook up the veggies, save about 1/2 cup of the water, of the cooking water. You can throw the rest out, leave about 1/2 cup. And that's what you'll need to add the cooked water inside. So we're adding that. This is very easy, very quick. All we're doing is just putting, once you've cooked the veggies, that's the hardest part, is just putting everything in the blender and whizzing it up. So we've got our cup of carrots, nicely chopped up cooked carrots, and that's what's going to give it the nice colour. Then we have some savoury yeast flakes. Savoury yeast flakes, that gives it that nice cheesy flavour. And we sell that downstairs. It's good stuff. Nutritional, it's good for you. And we've got 1/3 cup of olive oil. The container's pink, not the oil. So it's just putting that in. Next we've got lemon juice. A tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm going to use that. Tablespoon of lemon juice. A Tablespoon, is it tablespoon? Teaspoon. Tablespoon. Teaspoon, sorry. You don't want to put too much. Teaspoon of salt. And half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder. Then our lucky last ingredient is 2 tablespoons of corn flour. So we just need to whiz all that up till it's all nice and combined. Then we're going to cook it. So we'll whiz that up first. That's done. So it's nice and yellow, so it looks like cheese. Looks like the American cheese actually, because their cheeses are very yellow. It's a bit runny. So we just put that in here. And we need to bring it to the boil so that the cornstarch actually cooks. The other ingredients, not so important, that they need to be cooked, but the cornstarch needs to cook. So I'll turn that on. Okay, it'll just take a couple of minutes to warm up. And it gets a little bit thicker than what it is now. You can see what it's like now. It's sort of a bit gluggy. But you'll know when it's cooked when it starts to stick on the bottom. And that's when you turn it off. You don't need it to burn on the bottom. No, you don't want it smoked flavour either. Although you might. I don't know, some people might like that flavour. But you could probably add some smoked paprika or something and give it that flavour without going through burning it. Yeah, so it's starting to boil already, starting to bubble away. So it just needs to boil for a couple of minutes just so that the corn flour's cooked. So it's getting a little bit thicker. I don't know if that bowl's going to be big enough. What do you think?
While Rosetta's doing that, you'll notice on your sheet that you have vegan sour cream. We're not going to demonstrate that because it's very easy. You just put equal parts of oil and milk, and then you put in a little bit of salt and lemon juice. And you put everything in the blender and give it a whiz and let it sit probably for about 20 minutes or so, and it'll thicken up. So you don't, it's very, very easy to do. So we thought save our time.
It's soy milk, by the way.
Yes, soy milk, yes. We use, everything that we do here will be plant-based. So it'd be that you can have soy milk, or you can have almond milk, or you can have rice milk. But the creamier the milk is, the better it is for, the better it is for the vegan sour cream.
So the barista nut milks, yeah?
Oh,
The barista versions.
just go Aldi. Yes, so we use soy milk because it just has a bit more body, but you can use almond milk. If you make your own almond milk, you can make it thicker, and it's...
Can you reduce the rice bran oil?
You can, instead of rice bran, you can use olive oil.
No, can you reduce it?
You can reduce it, but it won't be as thick.
Because that's what thickens it. That's what
That
makes
with
it like
the
a
lemon,
mayonnaise.
it reacts
Yeah.
and it thickens up. So, yeah.
So it's much thicker, but once it cools, it will actually get a little harder.
You can almost cut it, actually. Once it hardens, you can almost cut it. So, yeah. In America, when you go to a Mexican restaurant, you get an American cheese that looks very much like this, and it is very soft and runny as well. When you get it in nachos and things like that, you can see it, they just squeeze it, put it on. Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, and mac and cheese, that's the same.
Yes. Sorry, here you go. You can try a few items there. What Rosette has done is a potato cheese. What I'm going to show you next is a sausage roll. And on your plate you will find Joe's spring scroll that he demonstrated. You will also, the little cups, Mexican cups that you have, that you'll see on your plates. I will demonstrate that a little bit later, but that's where the cheese, the potato cheese came in.
Yeah.
You can put this cheese on pizza while it's hot. Yes,
Yeah,
you can.
So
Yep.
that it's like easy to drizzle on. Yeah.
You can make cheese in different ways. You can use aquafaba, which is the water from the beans, or chickpeas, or you can make a potato cheese. So most people have potatoes at home. Not everybody's got aquafaba handy. Now, whenever you open a can of chickpeas, don't throw the water out, freeze it. Put it in a little container and freeze it, because that's really good. That'll come in very handy when you need to do things like this. But this one, we thought, oh, we'll just do a potato cheese, because everyone's got potatoes at home. So, yeah. Okay.
Good.
Thank you, Rosetta. I'll need to swap our
Yep.
mics. Thank you.
Take the microphone.
I'll just set up while you're enjoying your food. What did you think of Joe's scroll? Have you tried it? Yeah? There you are, Joe. It's passed.
There you go. That's a spring scroll. No. I'm waiting until the leftovers. You know. I'll get That's it. Spring scroll and
Over here on this
the
side.
sausage roll that Lydia's going to demonstrate now. Yeah.
Yeah, I will be demonstrating your
Lydia,
sausage.
what's the third thing on the samples?
It's a cup. It's on your recipe form. It's called taco,
Black bean cup.
the black bean cup. So you will see that. I'll be showing you that a bit later on. Okay, I'll do the sausage roll. Then Tanya's going to come over and show a few things, and then I'll show you the cup.
The black bean cup has the cheese in it.
It has that cheese in the black bean cup.
Okay, so that's a sample of the cheese that Rosetta's just made, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so that's the black bean cup.
Yes.
Has the cheese that Rosetta just demonstrated.
Yes. Okay. If you just excuse me, I'm just going to get sorted out first. Oh, you're helping me today. Thank you, Amy. Okay, yep. Just bear with me while I open up all these lids.
Just while Lydia's getting ready there, I just need to make a correction, because we had a discussion there about the vitamin D. There was a question at the end there of how much is too much vitamin D. Look, for the daily intakes, you can't have really too much vitamin D unless you're consuming extreme quantities of it. It was pointed out to me that vitamin D is fat soluble, meaning it is stored in the body. But 4,000 IUs a day, you know, that's the average. That's the recommended intake. Up to recommended intake is 4,000 IUs a day. And if your levels are anywhere from 50 to 60, you're okay. 50 nanograms per mil of vitamin D, you're okay. 50 to 60. But so even 10,000 IUs a day, people have taken 10,000 IUs a day, haven't become toxic with it. Someone who's toxic with vitamin D, it's usually 3 times the regular, what would be the average or normal amount in the blood, you know. So while it is possible to become toxic with vitamin D, it's rare. So
so just as long as you keep in those daily allowances there, 4,000 IUs a day, you should be fine. Keep in mind, even 10,000 people are not toxic from that. But thank you for the person who pointed it out to us. And yeah, just for those who, I needed to correct that, so you can become, but highly unlikely unless you're really just consuming it like it's going out of fashion, okay? But 4,000 IUs a day should be fine, even up to 10,000, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, we're going to start off by making like a sauce, okay? So I'm just going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in the saucepan, and then I'm going to add onion and garlic in that order. So just 1 chopped onion and 2 cloves of garlic, and we'll just saute this. Now I am using the sausages in a pack of 20, and we have them downstairs, and they're made by Elim, and they look like this. They're that size. Now you can get any sausages that you like. There is a range available in the supermarkets of vegetarian sausages. You can get whichever one you like. They will all work, okay? So I'm using this one from downstairs. It's the Elim pack of 20, and it's quite reasonable for 20. I think it's around the $12 mark for 20 of them. So it's quite a good price. So, but I have used the sanitarium ones you can get, but there's a variety. There's a number of different ones, and everyone likes something different. So it's whichever sausage you like. Now, while that's happening there, I'm just going to mash this up with a fork. Now, you have one of those sausage rolls on your plate. So you can actually just put this directly in some pastry and roll it and bake it, and we call that pig in a blanket. Okay, so you can actually just get the sausage like this, cut it off, cut a strip of puff pastry and just roll it, and bake it, and it's pig in a blanket. But I thought this will just gives it another level when you put some seasoning with it. So the onion and the garlic. And while that's going on, I'm just going to keep mashing my sausages. And you can put as many as you like. You don't have to stick to 6. This one I've got 8 in here, so it doesn't matter. Depends on how much you like. When you're making the sauce, you might not like it as strong. You might like to, this is what it looks like. Okay. And into this, I'm going to put this whole little tomato paste. I tried to see what size it is, but I couldn't find the size on the packet. But anyway, just put that in. And I put some salt. Just about a teaspoon of salt and water, just a little water, about 1/4 of a cup. That's just to make it a bit more saucy. And you get a sauce looking, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a nice wet sauce. Now that's all ready for you to put thank you Amy, the sausages into it. It's very easy, it's really good for lunches, and you can freeze it and just heat it up in the oven straight from the freezer. I would probably put the oven on 160, and it might take about half an hour to heat it up if you have it frozen. Now, if for some reason, remember I told you last week there's no mistakes in the kitchen? If for some reason you've put too much water or you have too much sauce and you look at it and you think, oh, that's a bit rich, you can always add some breadcrumbs or some almond meal to the mixture. That will give it, the almond meal will give it extra protein and extra flavour. Or you can have a mixture that looks like this. So, yeah. So now it's ready to roll. Now, you can make your own pastry, which is really nice. If you make a pastry, a really quick pastry, is 4 cups of flour, 1 of oil and 1 of water, and 1 teaspoon of salt. It's very quick. You blend the water and the oil together with the salt, and then you put it into the flour. So it's really easy. You want to write it down? It's 4 cups of flour, 1 cup of water, and 1 cup of oil, whichever oil you like. I like olive oil. So, yeah. So that's really, really nice. And then you put the salt, 1 teaspoon of salt, and you put the liquid in the blender with the salt, and you blend it, and it emulsifies, then it goes white like real cream. And then gently fold it through the flour, and it makes a really good pastry. But today we're just going to have the puff pastry. That's a vegan pastry. So I'm dividing my filling into 4 because I'm going to do 4 rolls, and put it on the end like so, so you can roll it. Normally, I would let this cool down a little bit because it's a bit hot. The pastry, it's easier to roll when it's cold. So if you let it cool down a little, but we're going to just do it tonight. It'll be okay. As you roll it, push it down. The paper, push it down as you pull it, and that will sort of like keep it nice and firm. Yeah, it's a little bit soft, and the problem is because I took the pastry out of the freezer a little bit earlier, it's also gone a little bit soft. But you can, when you're at home, your pastry won't be as soft. So yes, so just put it like so, and make your roll, a bit like Joe did with the tea towel, but I'm using the paper. The plastic from the pastry. Just get the beginning nice and firm, and then as you push it down, and it'll just help with the shape. Oops, it makes it tight, but this, yeah, it's a little bit harder with a soft pastry. It's not cooperating with me, but yeah. Thank you, Amy. Mm-hmm. It's really a bit wonky, anyway. It'll taste just as good. Oops. Okay. That's one. If you're rolling your own pastry, I've got a really lovely pastry roll, a wooden roller that has got, it's made by Joseph. It's not because of my husband, but it is a good roll because it's got, on the ends, it's got a cog or a round disc each end, and you can change the thickness of your pastry. Because I think there is 4 different thicknesses, and you screw the ends in with the round disc, and you can have your pastry whatever size. And it's really lovely when you're opening your own pastry to roll it because everything is the same thickness. It works out really well. So it's made by a company called Joseph, and you can buy it from kitchen shops, or you can buy it from Myers. And I really find it's very useful. I really love it. When I make little pies, individual pies, I do that a lot. Every time we travel, I make little individual pies. And it's really nice because they're all the same. There's no thick pastry or anything like that. I'll just...
That's right.
That's okay. What are they bringing out this? Are they collecting, are they? Okay. So what did you think of the sausage rolls? Yeah, do you like it? Now you've seen how it's made. It's so simple. It's very simple to make. And that's okay. Here we go. And then I thought I had a lid on this, but I don't. Lucky I didn't throw it up in the air. But it's just have a little container with the lid on, and you just shake half oil, half soy milk, which will make a really nice topping for your... that's okay. Amy, I'll mix it up with the brush. Thank you. Yep. Just to brush the top with it. Okay, so half soy milk and half oil. I like olive oil because it just gives it a nice flavour as well. And then when it's baked, it just gives it a nice glossy look when you bake it. Okay, now this will go out the back. Now, before it goes out the back, what I like to do, because when you do puff pastry and you're going to cut it, sometimes it just breaks and falls apart and it looks ugly. So what I will do is I just mark it where I want to cut it. Amy's going to get me a knife. And that way, when it's baked, it's a serrated one I should have. But what I do is I mark the end off like that, because the ends are always ugly. You don't want to put on the plate. So us mums eat the end parts. And then whatever you want. If you want to divide that into 3, we just mark it. Just slit it in 3 parts. Or if you want to do bite size, just cut off the ends and then just divide it how you want it. Wherever you want to cut it, that's where you mark it. And then you cut it right through. I usually use a serrated knife because then you can just get it really lovely. And when it's baked, you don't have to, it's just easy to cut. You know exactly where it cuts and it won't make a big mess. So... yeah, it's okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, now Tanya will be coming up now, and she will be doing a couple of items. One is a roll, a very, what did she call it? Something veggie-licious wrap. And the other one is going to be a spelt flour tart and spinach tart. And she'll be coming up now to demonstrate that. Thank you. And then I'll come back a bit later to show you the cup, that little cup that we made, and also the desserts. Okay? So enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. So you're coming back, Lydia? You're coming back?
I am.
Come one more. Okay, great.
I am. You can't get rid of me yet.
And now Tanya.
Tanya's
and this
here.
is Tanya's first one for the series, yes? I think this is Tanya's first one.
Here yet this time, this
Yeah,
series.
just
I'll give
the
you
mic
this.
for Tanya.
Yep.
So that sausage roll was tasted nice? It did taste nice? Yeah.
side do you
I
want?
find it tastes really nice. And if it doesn't taste nice, there's always tomato sauce that goes well with it. You know.
Actually, they should have given you tomato sauce on your plate. Did you get any? I bought a big bottle. Ooh.
Oh, no tomato sauce.
I forgot to tell them.
Tomato sauce makes any meal good. You know.
What happened to the tomato sauce with the sausage rolls? There's a big
Yeah, so you can enjoy the flavour without, on its own, it tastes really nice. You don't even need sauce for
that way you
something.
can tell
Yeah.
whether it's nice or not.
Yeah.
Tomato sauce.
Okay, so the samples coming out is the Veggielicious vegan wrap. Yeah. And the other thing is on the plate there, Tanya, do you know the other item on the sample plate?
It's a spelt flour spinach tartlet.
Spelt flour spinach. What's it
Tartlet.
called? I get that. I need to get that word.
I might start.
Tartlets. There you go. Spelt flour spinach tartlets. Okay.
Very good. You seem to be munching away and it tastes good, right? I haven't even showed you anything yet. So, all right. Whoops. So first off, I'm just going to show you how to make the crust for the tartlets. So you've got there's 1.5 cups of spelt flour. The spelt flour I'm actually using is wholemeal. Wholemeal is better for you, so they say. And then to that, I'm adding the 3 tablespoons of olive oil. In here already, I've put the 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, so that's in there already. And then I'm going to add the 1/3 cup of water. And this is best using your hands, okay? So we're just going to mix it together until it's well combined, and you'll find that once it's mixed, it doesn't stick to anything. It's really, we're just wanting to knead it into a little dough. So as you can see, that comes together quite easily. Now, once that's done, okay, so now I've got myself a ball here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it out. I've got myself a rolling pin here. And I'm going to roll it out. Now you want, it says there, I think off the top of my head, it's a 1/3 inch thick. So I'm just going to put my rolling pin to work. And this measurement will
1/4 to 1/8. You've got.
Yeah. So it will actually give you enough to fill the muffin tin, like the 12. The cavities there. So this will give enough, or maybe a little bit more. So it all just depends on how thick you're going to roll it out.
Your spelt flour, Tanya, where do you get your spelt flour from?
So spelt flour is freely available at Coles or Woolies or your local supermarket. They do come in only the 750 grams, so they are a little bit more expensive than your ordinary flour. But for anyone that's wanting to know what spelt is actually an ancient grain. Now, it used to be used a lot back in the 19th century, and then your ordinary wheat sort of came in, and that's where the ordinary flour came in, and it's only starting to come back into the picture now. So apparently it has more benefits for you.
I believe its gluten content is much lower than regular flour.
Yes.
It's being an ancient grain which hasn't been hybridized or
Yes.
genetically modified, whatever. It's a natural amounts of the gluten in that.
Yep.
Are more tolerant for people who have gluten allergies.
Okay. If I could just get you to spray them. So Lydia's just going to spray the muffin tin for me with just any cooking spray. And I'm just using just a cookie cutter. Now you want one that's probably just a little bit bigger than the cavity there, because you want the actual casing to actually come up the sides a little bit to form that case. So I'm just going to put in a few. So what you do is, once you've cut them out with the cookie cutter, you will get the 12 or maybe a little bit more. So I'm just going to put them into and just form the casings. And these cook pretty quickly, so there's no need to actually cook them beforehand, before putting the filling in. So you'll have it looking like that. Yeah? Okay. So I'll move this out of the way. Thank you. Put this aside. All right. Might need a tea towel just to wipe my hands. How did everyone like the tartlet so far? Yeah, it's good? Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm going to just demonstrate quickly to you the filling for the tartlet. Now this is pretty straightforward too. Now I've got over here the 1 cup of raw cashews. Now, as you can see on your recipe sheet there, it says about 4 to 8 hours to let it soak in water. If you have the time, okay, by all means do it. But if not, if you're short for time, you just boil water with what I'm using here is actually cashew pieces, not the whole cashew, so it actually makes it a lot easier. And it won't take as long. So what we're just wanting to do is actually to soften the cashews. So I've boiled water, and I've actually had this sitting in here most of this afternoon. So they're pretty well done. Oh, if I can just have the water drained out, that'd be great. Thank you. And what we're going to do is, in the blender, once the cashews have come back, so we're just going to drain the water, and then the cashews will come back and go straight into the blender. And we have, as you've got there on your recipe sheet, pretty much add everything else to it. You've got your lemon juice, which I'll add in. You've got the milk. Now, any kind of unsweetened plant-based milk is fine. It doesn't have to be the almond one. It can be soy, it can be, cashew, whatever it might be that you prefer. You can put that straight in. Now, it's got there 2 cloves of garlic. Now, if you're someone that doesn't like garlic or doesn't like to use onion or whatever it might be, you don't have to put it in there. But this is purely, I love my garlic, so I go all out. So I'm going to put in the 2 cloves of garlic, and then we've got the cashews here, so we can put that in. There we are. Thank you. And then once these are in, we're going to whiz that up. Now we want there to be a smooth consistency to this, so just bear with me. Might need a bit of a helping hand. Okay, so that seems to be nice and smooth, a little bit thick, but that's fine. Now to this, we're going to add the onion. Now I've got there a medium or a small to a medium onion. I'll just add that to it. You just don't worry about chopping up finely or anything like that. It's all going into the blender. And I forgot to add the chicken style stock powder. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to whiz this up a little bit. This, with the onion, once the onion goes in, you want to pulse it more so than blend it. So we'll sort of just... Okay, so that's... And then I've got my thawed out frozen spinach. Now with the frozen spinach, just make sure to squeeze out as much moisture as you can out of it, because otherwise it turns into a bit of a watery mess. So I've done that with this, and so I'll just add that to it. Sorry, thank you. And once again, with this, we don't want to sort of blend it all up, so I might need to get that stick back. Sorry, can I just get the... Yes, please. So I'll wait for that to come back. But once that's gone in, you can also add your 2 tablespoons of fresh dill. Now, did you taste the dill in it? Thank you. So I'm just going to add this to it.
They're very efficient at the back. As soon as I take things, they wash it.
Okay, and that is basically the filling for the tartlet. So what we do after this, just give you this. Thank you. Now, once you've got your filling there, we're just going to dollop it right into the middle of our tartlet, just like that.
So how was it? No. Where's the thing?
No, you don't. You don't need to. So, do you have to pre-cook the? No, there's no need to do it. It'll all just be cooked together. Yeah. Okay, and then, if you so wish, we've just got some tomato slices as you had there. You just place those on top, or even if you did not want to, you can go without them. That's not a problem. And then it's just a matter of popping it straight into a 200-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. And once they're golden brown, they're ready. And they actually taste better hot. So, you know, as soon as they come out, serve them straight away. Okay, yes?
If I don't feel like making my own
Yes, you can. If you can use filo pastry.
Just repeat that question for those at home.
So the question was, if you don't feel like making your own pastry, whether you can use store-bought pastry. The answer is yes, most definitely. You can do that using puff pastry, filo pastry, whatever that you feel like using. You can even turn that into a pie, really, and don't have to make them but seeing that tonight is all about, party foods, that's why they're in the smaller sized portions. So that's the demonstration for the tartlets. And now I'm going to demonstrate to you the wraps. Who enjoyed the wraps? I don't see anything left on the plates there. Okay, so they must have been good. Okay, so what I'm going to demonstrate to you, can you actually recognise anything that was in there? Did anyone recognise anything that was in the wraps? Or it was just delicious, all put together, yeah? Okay, so in there we've got eggplant. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate to you what I did with the eggplant. So what I've done with this eggplant is I've salted it just to bring out the moisture. Obviously you don't want that bitter aftertaste. So I'll just get that rinsed off, please. If that's. And then what I've done here, I've already mixed it up at the back, but this is the batter for the eggplant. So it's 1 cup of plain flour, 1 cup of self-raising flour. Then I've got in there salt. You can even use stock powder instead if you wish. And then I've got some curry powder in there as well, just to give it a little bit of a different flavour. Okay, so I've rinsed off. I'll just turn on this. Does it go the other way or this way? Whoop. No, not like that. That's it. So just a neutral oil, just for frying. I've got rice bran oil here.
Someone loves somebody.
And just remembering that with eggplant, it does soak up a lot of oil. So, you'll probably notice that you'll go through a lot of oil when you're frying it up. So I'll just wait for that to heat up a little. And it's just a matter of dipping it into your batter. And straight into the fry pan. I'll just do a couple here. Now I think that with the wraps, I've done these wraps a lot of different ways, and sometimes I've done them without the eggplant, but the feedback that I've always got was, we missed the eggplant. So I tend to sort of leave the eggplant in. So it does cook very quickly, so it's just a minute or so on either side. And then they're ready to go. I might need to, actually I might pop it in here. I'll put this in here. Okay. Now the wraps that I'm using, or that I tend to use for this, is the mission wraps. Now mission wraps, they can come whether you'll have your just plain original flavour. This one is a spinach and herb one, which is a crowd favourite. or you also have your roasted garlic, and there's other different types. I mean, there's a whole heap of different ranges of wraps that you can pick from. It doesn't have to be the mission wraps, but this is usually a favourite, this one. Now, this is pretty straightforward. There's no... Where is that? And as you saw how it came on your plate, that it didn't come as a full wrap, obviously. But when you're having, an event or something happening, they're really good when you can actually cut them up and display them on a platter and people sort of just pick from it. So what I'm going to do first here is, okay, there on your recipe sheet, I've got a vegan mayonnaise. Now, mind you, all of this, there's nothing that is done from scratch besides the eggplant, okay? So what I've got here, you will find a variety of things at your local supermarket, and the vegan industry is just phenomenal now. You can find so many things that are vegan. So what I've got in this mayonnaise is, this one tends to be one of my favourites actually, is the Hellmann's Vegan Mayo. And then I've got here, this is just a Coles Vegan Garlic Aioli. And then I've added in there some corn relish. So these three put together, that's what's made this up. And you probably tasted it really well in your wraps, yeah? It's a corn relish. Yep. Okay, so I've just mixed these three up.
It should be on your second sheet or on the back of it. It should continue on. Does it continue on? I haven't got a... I'll get it.
It should all be in there. Yeah, it's in there? Okay. All right, so I'm just going to spread this onto my wrap. Now, I tend to put a good dollop of it on because that brings out the taste of everything in the wrap.
Lydia, could you just move the products to the side? Yeah, thank you.
And then I've just got a mix of lettuce leaves. So, you know, it's not one particular lettuce, it's just a bag of mixed leaves. And you've got to be wary of how much you're putting down, because after everything you want to be able to wrap it up. That's the key. No, thank you. So I've just put down 2 strips of the cucumber, and I put in a leaf of spring onion. After that comes the eggplant, which is, when you're doing your eggplant, it's nice to actually cut it lengthways, because then you just put one on there and it fits perfectly. Now after that, I'm going to add my tomatoes. Now look, there's no rule about how much or how little to put in. It's totally up to you. And then onto that, this is vegan ham, as it's called. It is available in our store downstairs. We just add that on. And lastly, you can, or it's up to you. If you want to, you can, but if not, it's not a big deal. But this was on your wrap tonight, and this is the corn schnitzel. So this is also available in our store downstairs. So I'm just going to, these are all in the frozen food section. And then, yes, so this is what it's looking like. I put it smack bang in the middle because then it's probably easier to actually wrap up, yeah? So that's what it's looking like before it's wrapped up. And then this is where it's a bit of a tug of war. You don't want to break the wrap, but you also want to ensure that it's tightly packed in there. And voila! Wasn't too hard, was it? Oh, it's when you're eating it, you think there's a lot of work that goes into it, but it's actually not too difficult. So it is a crowd pleaser, this one. So yeah, whenever you have guests over, even if it's for a light lunch, these are great. Thank you very much. I think Lydia's going to come back to continue on for the next part.
So thank you, Tanya.
Do you want to cut it to show?
Okay, so what's we got now, Lydia? We're
going to show them how to make those cups.
Oh,
But
yes.
I'm going to try and see if I can beat the clock. We're already very late. If anyone needs to leave, I won't be offended, okay? I'm sorry, we didn't realise it was going to take so long. But there's a couple of things that we're going to do.
Yeah, but this is
that,
the last one, Lydia, for a few months. So.
There'll be,
So.
there'll be, we're going to make these little cups. To make these little cups, we get wonton wraps, which is very easy to do. Okay, and they come in a packet of, they say 25 approximately, but I had a few extras today in the packet. It was really good.
So the samples coming out now are...
That's dessert.
That's dessert,
Yeah.
yet to be demonstrated,
Yes,
right? Okay.
but we'll do it really quick.
All right, so this is
the
advanced.
wonton wraps, and they say 25. I got 28 out of it. But what it is a tiny little square, pastry square, and that's all it is. Very easy to handle because it's got corn flour in between. You just, if you don't have a non-stick, you just slightly just spray a little bit of oil on your tray and just put it in the middle like so, and that's all it is. That's your casing for that. So you can use this casing for any filling you want. You don't have to stick with what we've had. We did a Mexican take on it. I won't spend time doing this up because we want to be brief. I'll leave it here and then you can have a look at it later if you like to. And we'll go into making the bean mix. That's also very simple and easy. Again, on the stove, start off with your onion and garlic. Now, one thing I want to tell you, in order to peel a tomato, you just have to put it in boiling water for about a minute, or not even a minute. And the skin just comes off. Very easy. You don't have to peel it with a peeler or a knife or something. We are going to use one tomato in this lot. So I'll just go as quick as I can. So I'll put the oil in first and the onion and start sauteing that. And the garlic. It's always nice to have the garlic. Okay, that will get going soon. Then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. Once this cooks, it shouldn't take long. The beauty of gas is that it really cooks up quickly, so it won't take too long. So after that is sauteed a bit, I just put the tomato paste and the seasoning. Now I've got coriander, I've got paprika, I've got some cumin, some cayenne if you wish, and there is some oregano. Sometimes oregano is quite nice, and they're the spices that we use for this. You tasted, that's the little cups. You've tasted, we had the beans on the bottom, so that's what it was. So we're just doing the bottom part. I'm not going to demonstrate everything else that's on there. I'll just demonstrate the beans so that you can see how that's done. And the rest is pretty easy to follow. It's just your salsa and lettuce, guacamole, sour cream, and the cheese that Rosetta made. Okay, we had that in there. So this is ready for the tomato paste. Okay, and I put... I'm just going to go by what I do at home, because it's a lot easier than try to measure everything out, seeing we're in a hurry. But it's about 1/4 teaspoon of each thing.
But you got this written down on the sheet?
Yes, it's on the paper.
It's all on the paper?
All on the paper.
Okay,
yep.
so you're going out of your head now.
Yep, it's all on the paper, so... Okay, and then...
Yeah, it's...
what I will do is I will get the boys to put the recipe on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Down the bottom, you know, when you're watching the video, and then you can look down the bottom and it'll have the recipe on there, okay? So I've cut up 1 tomato and I took the skin off and just putting that, and the beans, and then you can taste it, and if it needs something else, you can put some salt, extra salt, or any other herbs that you wish to put on it. And whenever I put tomatoes, sometimes it's nice to just put a little bit of sweetening. So I'm just going to use a little bit of maple syrup. And that just cuts down that acidity of the tomato. You don't need to do this, but if you like to, or you can put rice bran malt, you know, whatever sweetening you have. So that's the beans. That's done. It's nice and simple and easy and quick. And that's what's on the bottom of your little casings. So I'll just put that on. She's taken my spoon. But anyway, just put it on the bottom about so much. And then you add all the other parts to it. So that's that one. And I'm just going to go quickly through dessert, if that's okay. Yeah? Okay. What I'm going to do is I won't show you the chia one because it's just on your recipe. It's just put everything in, blend it together, and that's it. Mix it. You mix the chia with your with the ingredients that are together, and then you put that on the bottom, and the top, the mousse thing, you blend it in a blender. So it's all there. It's very simple and easy. I won't do that one. But I will do the, just quickly do the caramel slice. Yes, please. I heard yes, please. Okay, I thought you'd like to... If I could have some boiling water in that, please. Yeah. Okay. Now, because of time, what I've done is I have actually pre-prepared a lot of this. So we've just mixed in 1.5 cups of self-raising flour in a bowl, and what did I put? 1/4 cup of caster sugar and 1/4 cup of desiccated coconut. Amy, could I please have some baking paper?
Could you just not put those in front, just move them to the side so we can...
I shall put them on this other side.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, and 1/4 cup of desiccated coconut. Mix that all together. Like so. And then I melt some margarine, or if you prefer coconut oil, and add this to the mixture, and that'll make your base for your slice. Okay, so just 185 grams of margarine. And what I like to do is line the baking tray for 2 reasons. One is it's easy to take it out when you're finished, and the second reason, it stops the burning on the edge. So have it a little bit up from your slice, and that'll stop the burning, okay? So mix this up, and I'm going to use my fingers again. Fingers are made before spoons and whatever. So just mix that all together and just line your tray with the base, with the crust. And then you bake this in the oven for approximately 20 minutes, and you'll see it. It'll be nice and brown, golden. It'll be a really lovely, I'm going to put this over here. It'll be a really lovely colour. So just press it to make it, to cover the bottom of your tray. It will rise a little bit, and now this will have to bake first before I put the caramel. Now I've got a cheating way of doing caramel. Forget trying to make caramel from scratch. I mean, it would taste lovely if you do. But I've got a product here, it's called Soya Milky. Now this is made from soy milk, and it's already caramel. So you open this up. Once this is baked, you spread that on top, and you put it back in the oven for another probably about 15 minutes, and it'll bubble up a bit. Yeah, thank you. It'll just bubble up a little bit. And this is another reason for having this paper, because if it does want to go over, it won't go anywhere. So that's our base, and that has to be baked. So I'm not going to put the caramel here tonight, but that's what I do. I open that, and then I just put blobs everywhere and then smooth it out, and then in the oven, okay?
So you've baked the pastry first?
Bake this first.
Yes, and then bring it out and
bake this for 20 minutes until it's golden brown, and depending on your oven, about 180, 200, depending on your oven. So yes.
And did you have to wait till it cools down? Or no.
No, don't cool it down. Once you take it out of the oven, it's hot, so be careful. Open up your tin. One tin will do that whole area. Just put little dabs onto it. Don't just plonk it in the middle, because you're going to flatten the middle and it'll be hard to spread. So just get a little spoonfuls, and put that on and level it out, and then back in the oven for another 15 minutes. Then you get something looking like this. Okay, this has got the caramel already on it. So I'm going to do the topping, which is some soy carrot buttons, which we sell downstairs, and I'm going to do that in bain marie, and about 250 grams of carob, and about 2 tablespoons of oil. Now you can use some of the oils that are not very strong, so don't use olive oil, use rice bran or something that's not so strong, and that will melt. Now if you've got time to wait for it, you can, but if not, this will melt, and when it melts, we'll just spread it on top. And then let it cool, and then you can cut it up. So that's our slice. So I'm sorry I've held you up tonight. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, but I'll leave this here, and then you can come and have a look.
Is there a sample of the...
Did you get a sample?
You got the sample?
Yes,
okay,
they
great.
did.
Okay,
Yes,
so who enjoyed that caramel slice, yeah? Great. The soy milky, Lydia, that's downstairs?
We have them
Yeah,
downstairs.
we have the carob buttons downstairs in the shop. Soy milky is downstairs in the shop.
It's imported from, I haven't got my glasses, here we go. Where's it imported from? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't read it.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
It's either Germany or, I don't know. It's Brazil, actually. I think it's Brazil.
Yes, Brazil.
Yes.
It's in Portuguese.
There you go.
Anyone here read Portuguese?
Woohoo!
Yeah. Okay, it's from...
With glasses I can, yeah.
Yeah, from Brazil.
I thought, see, it must be nice.
Yeah.
It has to come from Brazil. I should have thought of that. Anyway, we sell it downstairs. So one of these tins will do you a whole slab like that. Okay? So, thank you everybody for coming, and
Yeah.
have a
Thank you.
have a very happy festive season and good holidays, and if you're going away, and yeah, and hopefully you'll come back in May sometime. I'm not sure where I'll be in May, but if I'm here, I'll pop in. If not, then we'll catch up one day.
Yeah, just so you don't know, Lydia and Joe, who have been working with our administration office here for many, many years. Joe is officially retiring Christmas, end of the year, and Lydia and he have some retirement plans, which will take them on a trip around the country. So hopefully they'll get back in May in time for our cooking demonstration. But if not, we want to thank Lydia for her 20 years of demonstrating here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lydia.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay.
It wouldn't be any good without you. So thank you
Yes.
for coming, because
Yes.
without you, it'll be very flat. Can you imagine me standing here talking to the walls? It wouldn't be so good.
No.
So thank you so
All
much
right.
for your coming back every time. And it's lovely to see the new faces, and it's awesome to see the other ones that keep coming back over the years. and
Yeah, thank
supporting.
you. So thanks, everybody. Let's just have a word of prayer, shall we, to close our demonstration tonight. Let's bow. A gracious Father in heaven, we thank you once more, Lord, for the privilege and the blessings we've had this evening in hearing and seeing these wonderful recipes being demonstrated, Father, and the things that have been preserved there in nature for us to ensure that we are both healthy and also that it tastes good as well. And we thank you for giving us this knowledge. We pray that we'll use it to your honour and glory. Share it with others, Lord, that they too may enjoy the abundance of health you have in store for us, Lord. And may you keep us each one in our homeward journeys, and keep us, Lord, until we meet again, be it thy will. We pray this and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
I just want to thank this crew at the back here.
Yeah, can everyone come out, please?
Tanya, and all the workers at the
Back
back.
crew,
because
come
they've
on,
done
everybody.
An amazing job. And the boys,
Quick.
the kids are already running outside, so. But they're just doing such a wonderful job out the back there. Come on, boys. Come on out. Yay. Come on, Arnie. Come on, Ivan.
Okay, thanks, boys.
Abby.
The front, come on.
Come on, forward. Where's Abby? Abby, come on.
Okay, Sil, thank you.
Come
Abby.
on. Come on. Everybody. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yvonne and...
Yeah, they're shy. Now, just one more thing. Don't keep stirring the carob, okay? When you put it in there, wait for it to melt on its own, and then just give it a couple of good stirs. But if you keep stirring it, it's going to coagulate. It's not going to be very good. So just have a look, and it's when you see that it's fairly melted, then give it a couple of stirs. Thank you.
It'll take a while, by the looks of it. Yeah?
It could take
How long?
probably about 10
10 minutes?
Yeah,
10
or
minutes?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget, if you want anything on the recipes here that are available at our shop is open now, afterwards. And, of course, we're open during the week, Monday to Fridays, 9 o'clock till 5:30, Monday to Thursday, and till 9 till
12:30 Friday.
1 on Friday. Don't forget to, if you want to help out with the donations, we have a little box here, and that will help us out with covering the costs here. Hope you enjoyed the microphone. We got a new microphone this week, so
Yay!
in time for the last one. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thanks, everybody. Good night. God bless. Have a safe
Drive
journey
safe.
home, and
Merry
we'll keep you in
Christmas,
touch when the
Happy
next
New
ones
Year.
come up. Okay? Put your name down, email address, phone number if you'd like us to let you know when it's coming up next. Thanks.